This is Tutorial 1-9, Labeling Features in the GIS Tutorial 1 Basic Workbook. I just finished off with Tutorial 1-8, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to save my map, and then I'm going to close my tables. I'm going to clear, make sure there's nothing selected, and then I'm going to refresh my map. And that is found right here down on the bottom. Then I'm going to save this as my Tutorial 1-9 MXD. You're going to use your bookmarks and you're going to use the Florida one. You might want to pan to make sure it's kind of centered. And we're going to open up the US Cities layer by double clicking it. We're going to be working on the Labels tab. You're going to check the label features in this layer box. You're going to want to make sure that the label field is set to name. And here we have an example of what it will look like. And just with this bare minimum on, let's move our properties over and click Apply. You can see that we have Jacksonville, Tampa, and Miami, but they're a little difficult to see. So we're going to add what's called a halo, which is a type of mask. We're going to click on Symbol, then Edit Symbol. You're going to want to go to the Mask tab and check the Halo option. Then you're going to click OK, OK again, and we're going to click Apply and see how that worked. You can now see that they're a little bit clearer. There is a white halo around them. Let's see what happens when we make them bold. Okay, they're a little bit easier to read. Now we're going to go back into the mask. Personally, I like to use a different one rather than the white halo with the black print. I like to do the opposite. So I'm going to make my halo black, and I'm going to make my print white. Click Apply, and to me it pops out a lot more. It almost gives it like a three-dimensional appearance, and you can increase the font if you think it needs it. Some people like a yellow halo. Other colors can be used, so this is definitely up to a preference, and it should contrast well with your background. So I'm going to stick with this one, so I'm going to click OK, and let's try to get a few more cities in here. So I'm going to do a fixed zoom out. Now this is a very useful technique, not just for developing an export for your map, but also just so you can easily understand what feature is which on your own map. But what do you do if you want to turn them off? Well, you just go to US Cities, right click it. You can see that label features is already checked. So we just click it again and it becomes unchecked and our labels are gone. So you're going to want to hit label features again and they've come back. Next, we're going to convert our labels to annotations, and annotations are really useful because it's a graphic that you can edit individually. So each label becomes its own graphic that can be edited by itself. They want us to use the bookmark for Florida again, but I'm going to keep the view that I want because I have 5 labels on there that I like. Then you're going to right-click on US Cities, and you're going to convert labels to annotation. Now, there are different ways that you can create annotations. You can store them in the database, and what this will do is they'll save them and you can add those to this map, to another map, to any map. If you store them in this map, they're only usable in this map. You can create annotations for all features, including the ones that we can't see, or the features that are just in the current extent. Or if I were to go out and select the cities, you can just do the selected features. Now down here for annotations, since we're set to a database, it will store more information. this is what it would be named. But this feature linked box is very important because what this does is if I were to delete, say, New Orleans, it would be deleted from the annotations. So it's a good way to prevent old features from being included in your annotations. So we're going to use the options that the book wants. We're going to do in map, so you can see that it got rid of a lot of the options down here. That's because it's not going to store that stuff. Instead of naming a feature class, it's going to give us an annotation group, which just exists in this map. We're going to only do the features in the current extent, and our labels are only useful at this scale, at 4 million, meaning when we zoom out, they will not increase in size. If we zoom in, they won't shrink. So that's something to keep in mind. And there's also a box down here, convert unplaced labels to unplaced annotations. This occurs when you have points that are grouped really close to each other. That clustering prevents some of them from displaying their label. So we're going to convert. Now it doesn't look like anything happened. So what you're going to want to do is make sure that you have the select elements, which is pretty much the black mouse pointer, selected, and then you're going to click on the label for Miami. So if we click on it, I'm going to get my magnifier. You can see that there's this little blue outline around it. So if I click that, I can move the label and place it inside the state so it's not sticking out. I can do the same thing for Jacksonville. Select it, then move it. Atlanta is fine. Tampa's pretty good. I could move New Orleans. Now that's where I'm going to click so I'm not selecting it. So right now that's where the book ends for this tutorial, but I'm going to show you by zooming in. Our label is not shrinking. If I go in here and turn on labels, that's what it would look like if I was using just the regular dynamic labels, but I'm using annotations. This is something that should be done kind of at the very end of your project when you're not going to be panning or zooming in or out, that the extent is really set. As we can see when we zoom out, we can't really read them anymore, even with my magnifier on. So that concludes this video.